This is my call for revolution, not a blueprint for a solution, but an awakening to the delusion. If we took out the money, would the world stop spinning? Would we find a common goal and let the race start winning? If the line between good and bad runs through every human, terms like evil are confusing to them. Instead of changing the conditions that evil's created, we act with the brutality that got evil instated. And we're fed fear and anger by the media, so we become vitriolic in mass hysteria. Fed alcohol to fill our whole interior, we become alcoholic and on the whole inferior. We have a feeling within that something's not right. We struggle to sleep with this feeling inside of burrowing worry from which you can't hide, because it's a siren to warn you that we're letting our pride, our greed, our vanity and our fear decide how we should run the earth and the people, in spite of knowing full well that we should unite. We should have one goal, not one individual plight. Not command and conquer the continuous fight. We've not evolved, we've gone backwards despite technology's advance, which should really ignite a world of abundance, equality without caveats. Instead we go to sleep with the overwhelming feeling that we've all been dreaming. While the globe was trotting, 1% was plotting, that we'd all forgotten that the world was rotting, that the sea was blotting, that the air was filling with the price of drilling. But it's nice and thrilling to have twice the shilling, although it's killing the place we live in. So we forget the turmoil, we forget those that light foil, forget those with dry soil, trade blood for new oil. Well, I've not forgotten, because I see pained faces at train stations with newspapers. They claim races have true places, they're job takers. So we remain faithless, cash-chasing change haters, because we fear any change. So our feelings, we hide them. We forget other people have a person inside them. Just like you, they have a voice that guides them, makes sense of the world until they meet their horizon. We don't choose where we're born, if it's poor or war-torn or dry with no corn, a climate so worn you leave to reform, survive but reborn as the social archetype of danger in our eyes, a stranger in our minds. Behaviour's not right, or clothes are too bright, or robes on a flight make us scared and sit tight. We've all bought the big hype, the stereotype that the media ignites. It's simply the culture that makes people differ. If the world hated you, would you hate people quicker? If raised as a Jew, you wouldn't pray with a vicar. If your dad was a Nazi, would you too hail Hitler? If abused as a child, would you too be sicker? Would you look at the world without empathy's flicker? Instead of blaming the man, why don't we check his environment, so in the future we can avoid even more violence? If soup killed a man, would we simply bin it? Or would we check to see what the fuck was in it? What ingredients caused lives diminish? Let's change the recipe so all the pain can finish. Is imprisonment the answer? A correctional facility that incorrectly disconnects a man's emotional stability? If we wanted to correct, then we have the ability, but unfortunately for us, there's no profit in humility. 10 years for robbing £200 from a station costs 150 grand in taxpayers' donations. Could we reimburse the station and look at the causal equation that poverty plus need caused this call for salvation? What did he steal? Did you ask a description, or did you simply throw the book at him to get a conviction? The politics we live by is stranger than fiction. If they represent the people, then why are the people the victims? Democracy's not here before you cast an aspersion. Each candidate's candidly a version of the same person. I don't remember voting to go back to war, to kick poor people from their homes, eviction signs on their door. Do we even know who the crooks are anymore? The truth? They hide in plain sight, they glide with skin white and try to recite we have the same plight. But take some insight to things that aren't right, the money that's held tight, the bombs that take flight, the men who sit back with kids in their lap and tell us Iraq is back on attack. So we can put back the trust in their acts, they're breaking their pacts, they're faking their facts. The people aren't ready to make these decisions, they just take drink and drugs and occupy all our prisons. Leave it to us. To me and my chums, we look after those who matter. Every country has bums, and every country has guns, and every country has war. For the important to be rich, of course there must be some poor. It's just how life goes. I'm afraid we need the monopoly. Come on, I mean half the country can't even speak English properly. They're not educated privately or in the right society. They simply can't be trusted to make money their priority or fuel the economy. You can say it is wrong of me. People have their place. That's just the way of ecology. Well, I think you're wrong. I think you've got it all twisted. In fact, to put it bluntly, I think your mind has been fisted. Your views are outdated, their basis Victorian. Let me explain how with a verbal DeLorean. You see, Victorians created a rigid class system, repressed sexuality and invented elitism. So with the elites in charge, lineage gave them divine right, the right to not work, the right to a divine life, the right to make decisions over those who would define life as a battle against disease and prostitution. Then child labour became rife. So if these were the conditions that gave birth to such strife, why are they still employed today in our life? What's the use in a class system, no equality, false rights, when we have the technology to stop these class fights? So when you sit down and you're all alone, you're not sitting online or flicking your phone. Close your eyes and look inside. Ask yourself what you'd like to find. To see humanity grow and thrive, to see us help Earth survive, or to see corporations grow in size, the few to boom while the most deprived. For you to know you should have tried. For you to know if we'd been more autonomous, we could have made a system that's not so ominous. What the fucking hell is wrong with us when we're happy to sit and watch conglomerates get enough wealth to wipe out poverty and yet they keep it back for their own economy? The facts are clear, there's enough resources to end the scarcity and the need for armed forces, but the forces that are driving us are not ones of caring. Did you hear a political speech with the emphasis sharing? The priority is cash and control of our borders, imaginary lines that divide and contort us. Fear is the ingredient they use to distort us. So I leave it up to you to see what you find. If you scratch beneath the surface of words so refined, consider it a quest inside to confide in a consciousness you have you thought was sci-fi. In a presence of your mind you thought was too high. A place you can rest, a place you can rely. The truth is inside, it was our birthright. Let humanity prevail so you can sleep tight. In the knowledge you are one with each day and night. A stillness inside that's not fight or flight. A calmness can be found without these bright lights. Anxiety is lost when we reach these high heights. So my message to you is just seeing that considering our fellow human being can be freeing and gleeful. Get behind any movement that's peaceful, and one day we'll resume being people.